This?
Mm-hmm. Does it mean something special?
Yeah.
Did somebody propose to you?
Did Ariel propose to me?
I didn't say Ariel, I said somebody.
Yeah, Gollum.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, I got really shy. Yeah.
Nice. Got really shy.
Yeah. That's the sweetest thing anybody's ever said to me.
It's the sweetest thing I think I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
as well.
Every human likes that.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
Now,
I would just melt with, you know.
or did I melted in his mouth? Literally. Yeah.
Okay.
This is the Blue Lady Podcast. If you're coming here for good spiritual vibes, you have to take.
We have that
good
too.
But we actually do. That's very much the
We actually don't.
priority.
We don't have a problem with discussing things and high elevated spirituality all existing, all rolled into one.
The whole spectrum.
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Whatsoever.
No, I don't either. I think it's to be aware of all things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's very good. This is very much the kind of humor back and forth that we share.
Oh man, we are on time.
We are on time. I also have some Propels if you want. I have black cherry and kiwi strawberry.
I like kiwi strawberry a lot.
That one?
I actually don't really like that flavor very much.
That's fair.
My new favorite is the watermelon.
I already know you had that last time. You gave me some.
You need to get some of those and like.
I didn't see it when I was there.
That's what I want you to have here when I come over.
Okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh.
I can't open it.
Yeah, for some reason, like this batch has been like extremely hard to open. There's a handful that I just like couldn't do. I had to get a little.
Yeah, I bought some of these like maybe a month ago. That I actually got a wrench. I was like,
to get all of them.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I was able to open like one or two of them, but then the rest of them I was like, ah. So I would try one and I couldn't get it, and I would try one and I actually got a wrench and.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I couldn't do it, so I had to like shoot it with a shotgun to like get
blow it open, right? Yeah, makes sense. You could like melt the top with a small torch.
That's what I did.
Put it on a Bunsen burner, wait for it to melt and leak out that way.
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Ariel actually gave me this to wear because I gave her a ring to wear around her neck because she was going out of town. She's going to be gone still for another full week.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how are you doing? I know she hasn't been here for a while.
It's impressive how much I miss her. I mean, yeah, it's good. You know, obviously I can function just fine, but still, it's always nice to have somebody around. You know? We spent a lot of time together, and she's helping me with the house and getting it all cleaned up and reorganized and getting the tile tomorrow finally.
I dig her. I like her.
She's really good.
I like her for you.
I think so too. John's a mess, can't you tell?
Yeah.
Yesterday, actually, I was a mess. I was having a very bad day.
Yeah, you said that.
I was just not in a good mood. I was very frustrated.
The tile thing or other? Oh, I could do the tile on your stairs.
You can?
I don't know how, but
we'll figure it out.
I will
slap it on and make a ramp out of tile.
That's a good
Yeah, it's really safe.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because I woke up at 8 in the morning. Because the guy was like, "Yeah, I'll call you at 8 and I'll be there in the morning." And I was like, "Okay." And so I woke up like at 7:40, and I was like, "Oh, wait for his call. I'm already up, you know, whatever. I'll just clean the house while I'm waiting for him." And then he calls at like 8:10, and he was like, "Okay, you know, I'll be there a little bit later." And I was like, "Yeah, all right, you know, well." He goes, "Yeah, don't like wait around for me." And I was like, "Okay, time protection because I want to be here." And he's like, "I'll call you in a bit." So I waited until 2:00 in the afternoon when I finally left to go get some food, and he called at 2. I was like, "Oh, I'll be there on Friday." And I was like, "Come on!" I was so frustrated. I was so upset, and so we got it all taken care of now. But like, it was just like such a frustrating thing because I took time off to do that, and that cost me money to do.
Can I just say?
Nope.
Please.
Okay. Yes.
Can I say?
Yes.
Okay. I want to say to you. That sounds like something to me you would normally take in like way good stride. So that I wonder if the absence of Miss Alf
Alf, yeah.
does have an undercurrent for you right now that.
I think so. I think maybe
Because that doesn't sound like something to me that you would feel that big about normally.
Yeah, I think it's definitely part of it. I will be honest. I think her absence definitely sort of makes me, a little bit more heightened, both in good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
A big part of it too is that a lot of what I'm doing in the house hinges on that being done.
Oh yeah.
Because while it's in the middle of being done, I can't do a lot of things, moving stuff up and down the stairs, like couches and things that I'm transporting and getting rid of. So it really it's a whole deal. So
I'm sorry.
Did
you see that?
I can actually do the tile my dad and I. In fact, after this guy's done with that, because it's already happening, I actually have some other tile plans that you might be able to help us with, because I'd much rather hire you guys. So yeah, I like these guys much better.
I'm sorry that happened.
Life went on. I went home. I took a nap. I got some food, and
life went on.
That's the other thing. One of my favorite pieces. I think I brought this up several times. I say that all the time in conversations with God is the concept of it'll either happen or it won't. The towel will get done or it won't. I'll go to work or I won't. I'll meet this girl or I won't. I'll take that trip or I won't. And it's kind of just the being able to accept that no matter what happens, it keeps going forward. Mm-hmm. And you just go from there. And even if the thing doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And you got to find a way to deal with it regardless. And you got to be okay with that. I am kind of actually impressed. And I actually told Ariel this yesterday. I said, I'm having a hard time with how frustrated I am because I don't think characteristically I would let that get to me the way it did.
Yes.
And it did.
Yes.
It really upended my whole day. It was very strange.
Yeah, when you had sent that message to me, I was like, "Huh, that's unusual."
Yeah.
For John.
Yeah.
Because you're a definitely strider.
Mm-hmm.
You're good at taking things in stride. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking about the break-ins you had at the store and the smash outs of the wall
Mm-hmm.
and all kinds of other, cars being craziness.
Things happening, yeah, all kinds of stuff, right?
And I mean, I know it affects you and stuff, but I don't know that I've ever really actually seen you resent.
Yeah, it's weird.
The way that you sounded yesterday, there was like an element of resentment to it that I was like, that is so unusual. What's up with John, I wonder?
Yeah.
And I thought about that. It's probably that,
Ariel's
gone.
That's fair, yeah, and I miss her a lot.
That's why Gollum, you had to hook up.
Yeah, so Gollum came over and we played James Wiener for a while. Yeah.
So you're feeling better.
And then he left his ring here and I put it on a necklace. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a very interesting thing. Also, I got some pretty bad news today. I had a friend he was more of an acquaintance, somebody that I knew through proxy, through a lot of people. He ended up passing away yesterday.
Mm. Who?
His name is Justin.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a friend. He used to live out here a long time ago, like 10 years ago, I think it was when I first met him at a concert. And he's really good, if not best friends, with several people that I know.
Mm.
And he passed away.
How did he pass?
It was an accident. Yeah, like a motorcycle accident.
Somebody I knew died yesterday.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It sucks.
It's crazy. Who did you know?
His name was Aaron, and he has like similar friend connections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aaron who?
Starts with an L.
Mm.
Starts with an L. I didn't know him super well.
Mm-hmm.
Know him super well, but like a lot of my friends knew him also.
Okay.
So
yeah,
like not a super personal one, but
sure.
I feel like, I mean, you can still definitely feel it when a lot of the people you know are hit really.
That's I think what's hardest is seeing my friends react to it because man, like, it's knowing how close he was with them. Like, it's not just, oh, this dude I heard of that people kind of knew. It was like, this is my friend Derek's best friend.
Yeah.
This is my friend Mark's old best friend. They played in a band together. He knew this, and it touched so many people. And I saw it today, and I was just like, holy, like so it made me feel upset because I didn't. It's someone that I've met, and you just never know when things happen. Blink of an eye, the fragility of life, and so it was really intense just to see everybody reacting so loudly today, and my heart felt so bad for all of them.
Yeah.
Just to see it so pronounced.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people in pain today.
Oh, that's hard.
It is hard, yeah.
So good wishes and love go out to them as they heal, and is what that is. Just remember, you're one day closer to eating your next plate of nachos. If that doesn't keep you motivated, nothing will. Actually, I went.
That's like the wisest thing.
I didn't have nachos today, but I had tacos because I went to Walmart before I came, and then I brought a bunch of food from Walmart. I brought it home with me. I adopted it. I adopted a bunch of food for a small fee. And I was trying to decide what I was going to do. Actually, I was going to pour a bowl of SpaghettiOs and put a bunch of goldfish crackers on it, eat it like cereal, which incidentally is just...
Yeah, we've talked about
We
that.
have, right?
And you introduced me to that.
Oh, it's so good.
I feel like that's one of the things that you frequently discuss.
Oh, I
is
do.
Your love for SpaghettiOs and goldfish.
It's amazing. It's one
You
of my...
talk about it kind of frequently.
And then what sucks is I was pulling the bags out, and I saw like a little piece of the beef. It was like part of a brain from my little thing of beef, and it turns out like the packaging from the beef had gotten scratched on something, so it tore it open. So I was like, I guess tacos tonight. So I was kind of bummed, but not exactly, because I bought the ingredients for tacos specifically. But ask me about Sagat's stage. So I think this is my buddy Sean, if I'm not mistaken, who's out in Thailand. And in the Street Fighter 2 video game, there's a stage for a character named Sagat, and it's in front of like the big like statue, like the Lang Buddhist statue. And he was there, like in front of it, so it's really cool to see a real world thing referenced from a video game that he's actually out seeing. And it's really neat just to look at that and go, that's iconic to me, not because of its real world existence, but because it's video game interpretation.
That's
so
cool.
yeah, it's a really neat thing to see. So there's pictures of him like doing like the moves and stuff in front of it. It's really cool. So yeah, he lives out in Singapore and I think he was on vacation. But yeah, super good dude. One of the coolest dudes I've ever met. Yeah. How are you? I know I just exploded a bunch of stuff everywhere, but how are you?
Let's see.
Okay.
I'm good.
We went to the thing last week.
Last Friday,
Which was great.
John went with me to my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and you might have noticed because he posted on Facebook something insulting and embarrassing about me from there as usual.
That's right. I was like, this girl's on her period, and she won't stop talking about it.
Yeah, because I went to my parents' anniversary party, and all I could talk about was my menstruation.
Right.
Yeah, it seemed like the hot topic of the
Well, because you decided for some reason you were like, I'm not going to wear any underwear and white pants. Let's see what happens. And I was like, that's weird, but okay.
That's an. I don't know what recollection you're experiencing right now, but
Fever dream.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, none of that happened. But what did happen was that it was a beautiful, beautiful thing, and they didn't do a renewal of vows per se, but they did. What did he call it? Just reaffirming of their love, I think.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. I absolutely teared up.
I've watched it because I recorded it. I've watched it several times, and each time it's not decreasing in its like emotional charge for me.
Yeah,
it was really beautiful.
It was incredible. Really, 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years, 50
Yeah.
years. And they're nice to each other, and they like each other, and the family had a lot of things to say that were really beautiful about their influence on, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It was great to see your relatives and see meet your Aunt Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
One of the coolest ladies
Yes,
ever, by the way.
she watches this.
I know, it impresses me. That's amazing.
And she has liked you for a long time.
That I had no idea.
Uh-huh.
I had a discreet shadow fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
She liked me more, but
Well, yeah.
she liked you.
Period menstruation is a bit too able. Over here, they call it an auntie. I'm guessing this is pretty adorable. I'm guessing Aunt Flo, right? Yeah.
An auntie. I'm gonna start calling you that.
An auntie.
I'm gonna start doing
And everybody's gonna be like, why? Except for like.
Oh, my auntie
my
crap.
auntie.
I'm excited
Yeah,
to use that one.
that's pretty good.
Mhm.
Oh
Thank
man.
you for that.
Yeah, that's really
That was
good.
great.
That is excellent.
So that was one super cool thing that happened this week for me. Working.
Where do you work?
I haven't gotten hired yet.
Oh, yeah, you're pre-working.
I don't know either. I don't know why that was funny. It's so funny. Pre-working.
Yeah. So what is pre-working if not working? Michelle, were you aware that John's been a doctor for over 100 years? I'm really.
No. Stop it.
I'm really tired, so a lot of things are extra funny. So this podcast might be a lot more absurd than other ones.
Good.
Yeah.
I have some shit to say tonight too.
To me?
No.
Oh, they really-
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to.
I have some shit to say. Sounds like you're really
I'm gonna
like.
beat the shit out of you in front of everybody.
Just, are you gonna punch me or emotionally or just gonna tear me up?
You're not gonna know until it happens.
All I know,
has been a doctor
I have
for over 100 years.
over 100 years, correct?
I didn't know that.
I got my doctorate in 1905.
In 1905. What was your doctorate in?
Medical psychology.
In 1905.
1905.
So then why don't you tell me what were some of the trends and views that were going on in 1905 about mental health
Okay, so 1905, one of the big ones is that
or medical psychology?
medical psychology is if you put on a zoot suit, it's because you were nuts.
What else?
If you rode a buffalo, you were considered a god. Because the turn of the century, like there's still a lot of pioneering going on. I actually traveled.
That's a lot of pioneering.
Yeah, traveling town to town, somewhere a little rustic, like just a salon and a train station, a saloon and a salon, I guess. Get your hair did, go drink a beer, play the piano. Yep, ride in the carriage. Or you could go to like a more.
Well, all of that I think is real accurate, so I believe you.
Right, yeah, I'm not, why would I lie?
There's no reason you would.
There's no reason. I have no reason to do that.
Nah.
No. So, when people got sick, you sort of just dismissed it. You just said, that boy's not right. And you just let him go. We've come a long way. There's a lot less dismissal. Why?
I don't know what to do.
What can you do? Even if you knew, what would it be? Yes, you don't know. That's the whole point.
Oh well, this is good. I needed that.
Yeah, me too. I was very sleepy, but I feel better.
Oh well, I've never been so bored.
Yeah, this is boring. Sorry to bore you to laughter.
Oh, okay. All right.
You don't have any kids, do you?
I only have like 8.
What happened to the other 20?
What are you gonna do with all that?
Just say stupid things. Well, I mean, yes, we could. We could. I mean, this is.
Well, it wouldn't be something that we're.
This is how we talk. This is how we communicate.
Yeah,
And the whole
this is
point of
actually
this
true.
is literally Michelle and I just recording us talking the way we normally do.
Yeah.
And if anybody intervenes in any way, we'll communicate, we'll talk, we'll back and forth anything. John, how was it just dealing with one store and not having to be spread out?
That's good. That should relax me.
Yeah, yes, it's relaxed me. Month and a half. Oh man, that's great. I feel much less stressed. The way I sort of described it was that I'm no less busy, but my busyness is something that I can much more easily manage. And so I don't feel overwhelmed. And when I feel overwhelmed, my productivity quality lowers significantly. And so I feel like I'm just far more capable and I can keep on top of things more easily. There's tons always going on, but it's all doable. And I don't ever feel that I'm just like overwhelmed to the point of frustration. It's great. It's great. And the guys, they take care of the store super well. I mean, it's their store now. They can do whatever, but we still correspond. In fact, Dustin, one of the owners, came up today and he bought some stuff for me and we chatted and we talked and we just, just exchange ideas. And I'm going to go down there and we're going to, swap stories and we're writing a new point of sale with each other. So we're still very much working in tandem and Gamers Anonymous is still a very unified experience. And it makes me really happy that I don't feel as if I relinquished the quality of the store in any way to somebody that I don't trust.
Right.
It's very much just, I trust them as much as I trust me, but I trust that they're going to do a better job because it's not going to be
They
spread.
can have their focus not so divided.
Exactly.
Dustin, have I met?
You did. He was working there actually when we were dating. He was working there quite a bit, which is why I had a lot more time off up here when we were hanging out. I'll show you a picture. I'm sure you'll recognize him.
And Michael, of course, I know Michael.
And you know Michael, right? Exactly. Yeah. But it's great. It's great to see the store becoming its own entity while still not losing its identity. It's fantastic. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's great.
That's what the community is all about. That's, I think, the big thing as well too, is that the store isn't defined by me. You know, I very much put my soul and personality into it, but I also actively feed off of the community.
Yeah.
And the community input is so integral to the existence of Gamers Anonymous.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll encounter people that will talk about it, like, oh yeah, this spot. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'll hear people talk about it, and it's. I mean, I've never heard a single negative thing. It's like a very people have a positive experience.
That makes me
stories.
very happy to hear.
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
me very happy to hear.
I always kind of enjoy that one. Like, oh yeah, John. Let me tell you some things about John.
It's just pictures of him holding a GameCube on his Wii around Facebook.
You know what? That actually kind of goes in line with what it's not that I necessarily want to open the topic, but I'm going to probably take 5 minutes and rant about something that actually sort of cued for me.
Sure.
And it doesn't have to be right this minute.
Okay, well,
I don't know if you were still talking about it.
No, I'm even flow.
You're an auntie.
I'm an auntie. Yeah, exactly. I'm on my auntie.
Flowing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we can go into it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So did you repost that today or yesterday or something?
The picture?
Yeah.
Someone asked about it, so I prompted them, and then it showed back up.
Yes. Okay. So I saw that, and it was exactly what John said, butt ass naked, with a beautiful blonde wig on and quite a bit of lipstick.
That has the makeup on.
And a GameCube.
Correct.
Is that what it was, covering your junk?
Yep, covering the area.
Yeah, covering the area.
Mm-hmm.
The special area. And I saw that today, and naked and bizarre and stuff. I have a friend who worked at Evolution with me for a while. She doesn't work there anymore, but she posted today a picture of herself wearing a shirt much like this, totally covered her, whatever, and shorts that were totally covered everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally. And I got really, really, really revved up about this because somebody commented on it to her that she looked slutty and she needed to wear longer shorts. Longer shorts.
God.
And I had seen, earlier in that day, you naked without, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that you're
no shaming
a male
whatsoever.
So that you can do whatever with yourself, as long as it's not that chunk right there, your junk, that you can.
Zero derogatory comments in the entirety of that whole 300 comment thread.
Yes.
Zero.
And this girl, her shorts were not even, I mean, they covered freaking everything, and there was no cleavage, and the shirt was loose. No midriff, nothing. And it just, like, I got really.
That's so frustrating.
And it made me think about what we were talking about Friday night, actually, when we drove out there to my parents' thing.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in the parking lot waiting to go inside. And we were talking about some of the trippy ways that walking around as a female in the world, and men have stuff too. I'm not saying that, oh, poor women and men are so privileged. We all have our shit, gender group, whatever. But just speaking from, this perspective, specifically, the ways that walking around in the world as a woman sort of exposes you to certain kinds of attitudes and comments or things that people feel for some reason are appropriate to do. Come here, sweetie.
Wait, come on.
Come on, honey. Come on.
Louis almost here. He's like 90.
I don't know. He's just staring at nothing.
There we go.
Oh, hi, sweetheart. So. Anyway, and it made me think about that we were talking about last week. And that time that I was at Subway. I told you about that with my friend Sharice, and we were standing in line, and I ordered a footlong, and this guy, total damn stranger, leans over me from behind after I ordered, and he was like, "You're gonna get fat." I didn't know who this man was, and I turned around and I looked at him, and I was like, "Well, there's a man right there who ordered a footlong. Do you feel like you should warn him?
Yeah.
Or is this about me being a female?
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Like my physicality or my body needs to perform in some kind of way because of my gender here.
Right.
Because he wouldn't have walked around saying that to anybody else.
Yeah. Just a woman Yeah, no men. He would say that to 0 men.
No, 0 men.
0.
0 men.
Yep.
And this girl today in her photo was totally covered, and you butt ass naked in yours.
Yep. Yeah.
And it gets no like, hey, why are you trying to be provocative? Why are you trying to be sexy? Why are you that just wasn't the, and I don't know, it's just really.
Oh, it's frustrating. I can't even imagine how frustrating it is for women. I don't have to deal with it. I don't see it. I post that stupid picture. I don't feel repercussion. And all I can do is like do my best to empathize in any way that I can. I will never be able to fully feel the impact that it has on women by default.
Mm-hmm.
That's insanity.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There, a couple years ago, or somewhere between a year or two ago, I remember seeing one day on the, I don't think it was on the news. I think it was just like a little blip on Yahoo that I read, and I see. And is this a T-Mobile store?
Yeah.
Is it?
Ariel's sister works there, and she gets free
nice.
stuff like that.
You sell phones.
He does. He loves the unlimited plan for families. Yeah.
Now. That's good. You got a job. What?
Free job.
Okay, so oh no, Larry.
Larry,
Okay.
you're just gonna chill over here. I know you want to walk on things, but you can't.
Yeah. So anyway, so a year, 2 years ago or so, there was a not a commercial. It was a new weather. I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time with English tonight. Broadcast, is that what they call it? Somebody was doing the weather or whatever, and it was this woman who was she was wearing, I mean, her dress was to her knees, I think, and it was black, and it might have had a little bit of sparklies on it, and it was like not spaghetti straps, but it was like kind of a strap dress, and there was no cleavage. It was like up to, and she got reamed by the public about how she was dressed, like in a little black dress doing the weather or whatever, and how it looked so slutty and whatever. And what was amazing to me, this blew my freaking mind, was that out of the frame of the picture like this, you see come in a sweater. I'm shit you not. Somebody wraps it around her shoulders.
No way.
And she's like, and she's looking around like confused. She doesn't understand why, but she just puts it on or whatever. And so she keeps wearing it because people were writing in and calling and going, she looks like a slut. You need to get your weather person dressed or whatever. This chick was covered. She was not showing anything. And it was really striking to me. And later she responded to it with an apology.
Yeah.
And it was, something like, something about, I didn't think about how that might have appeared, something like that. And I remember looking at that going, ooh, I don't want anybody apologizing for wearing, like, ugh.
That's like the PR has to like.
That day, what I decided to do, I went to work in the smallest black dress I had because I just wanted to see what would happen in my spot with my coworkers, and would that be something that anybody, has anything to say about? And I saw my boss, who's a, intriguing, fascinating, wonderful man. He didn't say a word. He didn't even look at me weird, like nothing. Nobody said a damn word to me. You know what I mean? And this girl that posted today on Facebook that photo of her, she was somebody that worked there at that time or whatever. Right. So I mean, the people that I worked around were really just had a totally different. I felt better later that day because I was like, yeah, not everybody's fucking retarded.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. But
so,
yes.
Sean actually has something to say. I once had a stranger woman say the same thing to me when I ordered the footlong pizza sub in 2000. I told her it's because I don't gain 20 pounds every time I eat a chip. She kept quiet after that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so he's a big dude. He's a huge. I mean, what? Maybe like 6'4". I don't know. And just like Arnold Schwarzenegger's dad is like just a big dude. He's gonna do something.
He wants to.
It's totally true that the standard for women is completely different. Over here, things like sex trafficking and prostitution are the norm. Out in Singapore. Let's see. Girls will fly over here to Singapore with the sole purpose of getting money through sex.
No one's ever given me shit for things like that, and I've eaten a 26-inch party-sized pizza.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like if a girl did that, and you're way more likely to get some sort of weird flack from somebody
Yes.
than if I did that. People would be like, oh, dude, like manly, like, yes, strength.
Yeah, I have a box
Fortitude.
up on my wall. It was a trophy.
Yeah. It was very 6'4".
Yeah, but there's like this interesting like idea of if you eat a whole carton of ice cream, you should feel really bad about yourself and feel really, what have I done?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just gender is a fascinating topic for me always.
Yeah.
Always. But I was irritated
Oh, sure.
today, and it made me think of last Friday when we were talking about that,
Mhm.
and it made me think of that newscast or that weather thing, and
Mhm.
just how, man, like,
Culture, that's so interesting too, because you also think about North America, right? I mean, the Americas, the United States. Whereas, have you seen like a lot of the Spanish, like the weather news folks?
Sure.
Beautiful women dressed. I don't want to say provocatively because I don't look at it and go, "Oh, that's so risque." Like, but there's definitely more of a sex appeal to it, and it's not addressed. In fact, I think it's very normalized in that regard. So I'm wondering if it's normalized because the women go, I'm empowering myself by choosing it, or if the macho culture is going, this is how women need to appear.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, because it just seems like it's accepted, so it's hard to say,
Yeah.
one way or the other. I have no idea.
Well, I showed that to Jathan today, and I was like, does this look like a slutty thing to you? And he was like, no. Like almost like, what are you, am I supposed to be noticing something?
Yeah.
Like it was sort of incomprehensible to him why I would even ask that question.
Sure.
And not too long ago, he and I talked about, and this is another one I find really kind of, super fascinating, is the breastfeeding thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Breastfeeding in public,
Mm-hmm.
and how that is, wow, that is controversial.
Yeah.
That is controversial. And that another is in another way like a very natural functional thing that's like, oh, what are you trying to say? What's the message you're trying to give us?
Yeah, you're trying to show off your tit.
What are you trying to say to me right now? I'm not trying to say shit to you.
Yeah, you have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I didn't know that you ever were born.
Yeah, exactly.
This has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, girls over here wear super short shorts and tops is the norm, and if they dress the same way in the US, it'd be totally looked down upon. Sure. I'm sure. Yeah, our standards are really interesting because we want women to be sexy and look good, but if they do, they're automatically sluts.
Interesting.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. I would encourage if anybody ever wanted to come to my store and breastfeed. I'm not that I'm just like, oh, I want to see this, but like, if a mom walked in breastfeeding her kid, no reaction.
Yeah.
You do it. Do what you need to do. And the only reason I would ever suggest sitting in the back to it is because it's far more comfortable to sit in the couches than it is on the chairs that we have out there. If you want to sit out in the chairs in front, by all means, feed your baby. Do what you need to do. Let me make you comfortable. What can I get you? Kind of thing. The store, I very much want to be a place of sanctuary for literally anybody. And if somebody feels threatened by somebody's right, that's not a store issue of me, going too far. That's somebody needing to sort of figure out their own mess in their head and then go address it.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with me. But I want people of any gender or race or color or belief or anything to be able to walk in my store, and those are non-factors. You are in my store to hang out, talk games, play games, be with somebody who's around games, and you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome to be there. And if somebody else has an issue with any of that, that person's a problem, not my store and not the person who's being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ha. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate how controversial breastfeeding is. It's ridiculous. How can you possibly perceive feeding a child their natural way as sexual?
Yeah. Feeding a kid.
Yeah, makes no damn sense. No. Rick, hi Rick.
Hi Rick.
Wouldn't be offended at all.
No, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Wow.
Like if a mom walked in and she was feeding her kid, and then she started she pulled the kid away and started squirting milk all over my games, we might have an issue.
Yeah.
That has less to do with her breastfeeding the kid and more with her breastfeeding.
Stop putting your body fluids on the puppy.
Right, yeah. The same as like you peed or pooped all over. Oh, by the way, a little girl apparently peed over by our shirts. Because the dad was like, hey, do you have to go to the bathroom? She goes, no. And then she walks over to the shirts and then squats down and pees on the carpet.
Awesome.
Well, I don't know how awesome it is.
It's funny to me.
The dad paid Granger though to take care of it, so because he felt really bad, he didn't take care of it. Granger just got some spray and paper towels and he cleaned it up.
Kids are fun.
They're interesting.
Yeah.
They're fun. I actually do like kids a lot, but it's interesting to see the kinds of things that they do.
He does this on purpose.
Larry?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Invitation to Love.
He does the thing on purpose where he's like, what can I just smash right next to you?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's looking for anything.
He's trying to
Yeah.
Pulverize.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurt.
Larry.
Move.
Now they're up there. Yeah, he's just staring at us. A weirdo looking for something to do. He just wants attention, which is
And he's going for his.
fair.
This is not a good idea. Put that over there.
Yeah, I was just gonna suggest. That's perfect. Larry, I don't want you to knock
He's
these
so
things
awesome.
over. He is awesome.
He does.
There are very specific things I would prefer.
Does he always love this, or is it when you're sitting right here that he's like,
Actually, I generally keep the door closed so he doesn't get in here and jump on things because he'll try to walk up there. There's literally no room.
Right.
He'll look for the one place where his pocket fit and decide that that's
Oh,
enough.
sweetie.
I know. It's so cute. I can't be upset.
He's so
He's just a cat. He has no idea.
Yeah.
Milk all over the place. So yeah, like there's a line. And it has nothing to do with breastfeeding. It just has to be, a decent person. Not, like if a dude walked in and cut his neck open and started like jumping over the Atari games, like that would be a problem. So yeah, there's no tact in that.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out.
You're
So
right,
those
yeah.
of you that like
He
to
doesn't-
breastfeed in public, could you please
Yeah,
try not to aim
Yeah.
intentionally
yeah.
at,
Accident, whatever. I'll get some paper towels.
in the
But,
soup
like,
at the restaurant?
Yeah, if you decide to squirt all over our TV while somebody's trying to play Mario, I'm gonna have to talk. Yeah.
Anyway,
No.
that was
that's-
just my moment that I needed to.
Sure. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's the standard is ridiculous, and I think the big thing that we need to do as people is I think I've told you I have a couple friends who are they're very activist and very passionate about, which is great. Passion is exciting and it prompts you to do things and it prompts you to make your voice heard. But my biggest fear is that oftentimes it'll come off as condescending and belittling rather than striving to educate. And I think it's something that we really have to worry about. People are not always aware of the things. Some people simply they do. Then that's how they act, but oftentimes it's people are taught this, so by default they don't necessarily know how to treat people equally. They don't necessarily know how to treat women equally.
Yeah.
It's not defaulted into everybody. It has to be learned for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
People are taught somehow, maybe through personal experience, or a lot of women are taught because they realize how much it sucks, and some men are taught because people react and say you can't do this. And they go, oh, I'm sorry, and maybe they learn, maybe not. But I think it's something that we really have to do to try to help educate people instead of belittle and berate them. If it comes to the point where we have to teach them through extreme means like that, okay, because some people haven't gotten the message. But ideally, it's the kind of thing where some people are simply unaware,
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I know both have had the experiences of growing up in some rigid and religious, scenes.
yeah,
And then as we grow older, views expand
Yes.
and the narrowness, widens.
yes,
And it's a great thing.
Mhm.
And sometimes I think we look around and we go, how is it still so narrow?
yeah,
That doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
we're just as trainable. We're all creatures that can download whatever it is that we're
yeah.
fed. It's true.
Not all people have the information and experiences that we do.
Yeah.
And that's really important is to say,
and
what
I'm
can
sure
they
I'm
do?
ignorant about a ton of crap.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
of course.
I'm guaranteed.
We all have
it.
infinite things to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to pretend that, my course of knowledge, there was a quote that I saw, and I might even have said this to you 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe. And it was my friend saying that she admires the ability to be able to assess a situation and
change
be
her
willing to
opinion.
change your opinion based off new information.
Information.
Absolutely astounding to be to the point where you can put a belief behind you if a better belief serves the greater whole,
Yes.
So. All right, ooh, he's dying over here, not the Flintstones cartridge. There's a really rare Flintstones game, and if some chick was just smashing her milk all over it, she'd be prepared to...
Smashing her milk.
I believe that means clapping her boobs into the cartridge. I guess that's what I would define smashing her milk.
Smash
That seems like it'd be painful.
What's going on
I don't know
here?
much about boobs, but I think that's okay.
I don't know much about it.
So he's going to tell us a story, and then in the meantime, Byron says, I read an article about a high-ranking KKK member who was mean towards a rabbi, and they just extended kindness to that KKK member, and they became friends, and the KKK guy converted to Judaism.
Huh.
He was shown that there are other ways, better ways to live. And yeah, I think a lot of it comes from misinformation, because all you can do, the whole saying, you can lead a horse to water. That's all we can do is tell people through example, ideally, is here's what I believe might be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
And not all people will subscribe to that. But as long as you show somebody, and especially if you show through example, you have a much higher chance of somebody going, holy crap, that works. And trying it and going, oh, it works. And then maybe doing something that is less aggressive to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most effective, I just show people all the time. Words go so far. And that's the problem with a lot of things is words are just words, like this is the problem with, I think there are a lot of very well-meaning Christians, but their examples are often aggressive and abrasive, and they push people into a path of resistance because they're showing them something while they're trying to teach them, I want what's best for you. If you do this, it's best. If you don't go to hell, it's best. If you believe in God, it's best. If you go to church, it's best. But then they're doing these things to make people feel and look bad. And if they just show through example that, be a good person, you're not necessarily saying become a Christian. You're just saying, here's what being a good person's like, regardless of your belief. And some people might maybe go, oh, where did you learn the good belief? And some people can say, well, my religion taught me this. And some people say, my family taught me this. And some people say,
It's a really great example of the narrow mindset. How Friday we were talking also, you had mentioned something about sexual assault, and I remember telling you, I had just seen something or read something about.
Oh, there's a video that I saw, and it was like this guy and his girlfriend and her friend, and this dude was like trying to hit on his girlfriend and like slap her butt, and this dude like laid this guy out, and so then the women start getting all up in his face and like yelling at him, and the boyfriend's getting all upset, and then one dude made a comment. He was like, well, if they weren't dressed like that.
Yeah, and I had told you I had seen something about similar to that where it was flipped sort of from the male perspective. Like, so if I'm walking around in public and I see a man wearing a football uniform, I don't just go tackle him because isn't that what I'm supposed to do? Look how you're dressed.
Yeah, why do you have a John Elway jersey on if you don't want to be tackled?
Yeah, we don't do that in so many other ways. So when somebody is wearing something specific, what does that mean about the
Yeah, it's very interesting the standard that we have set to what's okay, and simply because we gain from it. Gain. Yeah, that's I think what people want to do is they want to gain. Because that's I think what everybody's ultimate. Not maybe you and I, but a lot of people who wish to gain, they will look at that as gaining power and gaining control and gaining a good sexual feeling, regardless of how I get it. They want to gain something. And I think that's where a lot of it stems from is what can I gain from this person? What can I gain from this experience?
Yeah.
And is it at the expense of others? I don't care. So Sean also says, I live in a country with huge Muslim population. From my firsthand experience, most people, Muslims included, are just normal people trying to live their lives. It has mostly to do with maybe what the government policies affect and less from what regular people themselves want. Yeah, so there a meme popped up today, actually, that was talking about guns and how it was saying, there's a lot of people who say, well, don't ban guns because a gun is just a thing that does what it does. So don't ban the guns. We want the guns around. And the argument was also, not all Muslims are going to do this just because some bad Muslims did this bad thing. Don't ban Muslims. Don't get rid of Muslims. Don't. But you're making the same control over guns. You're still trying to regulate an item less than you would regulate a person. And this goes for women and Muslims right now. There's a huge thing about that. I had no problem with guns. I don't have a gun, so I don't know how to use one. I want people who have guns to know how to use them. I want them to use them responsibly. I don't have a gun. I'm sure I could guess, but I'm certainly not going to do that. I'm going to be responsible if I'm going to do one of those things. Yeah. Treat people well, no matter who they are. Because the thing is, we'll get rid of all Muslims, right? I'm still hearing this. I'm friends with several people on Facebook who have political beliefs that are on the opposite side of what I believe. Completely, things are posted that are, to me, outrageous and terrible. I don't defriend them. And I don't actually really participate because that's not actually going to do much. I'm not going to say a whole lot that's going to change their mind suddenly. But what I do is I look at it and I observe it, and I try to ascertain as much information as possible so I can look at it and say, if I were to combat this, I need to know everything that I'm up against rather than just saying, well, here's my point of view, you better eat it and like it, kind of thing, because that doesn't work. But I want to know as much as possible so I can look at this and say, well, how do I combat this one step at a time, baby steps, like this issue and that issue. And so I'm learning an awful lot by doing it, but I very much just keep it sort of at a distance. But it's fascinating to observe to see a lot of really interesting things, and some of it's really terrible.
Yeah.
But it's something that I've found I'm doing my best to garner information from, and seeing it firsthand instead of just hearing about it through like news channels. It's a very different experience.
Yeah, getting to see the real opinions, not just what the press or whatever says, what people are saying about what they feel the press is showing them or whatever, because the press is, I don't know, who knows, but we really are walking around making determinations and decisions and judgments and labeling this and that, and it is. I think it's really intriguing to see the variety there and the thought processing behind any judgment that we're tossing. Yeah,
because it's not exclusive to any religion or race or gender. People who do crappy things can come in the variety. There's no exclusivity. It's simply.
I don't think there's a religion. Well, I don't know if that's accurate. I'm not even going to say that. But the major religions, harming others in the name of God is a.
Yeah. I think you get denounced automatically by God for doing something awful in the name of God. I think God would automatically be like, oh, if you're going to act violent about it, you're no longer part of my religion. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. There's too many religions out there. I can't speak for all of them. But all I know is if you do crummy things, or people who don't do crummy things, and they can all be the same religion, they can all be the same gender, they can all be the same race. Crummy people and not crummy people. That's the divide. Yeah. So don't make it about any one defining factor.
It's not a group.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily.
Dude, I hate dudes with one nostril, a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate them. I think
all of them. They all are.
Men with one nostril.
All men with one nostril. It's terrible.
Worst men.
See, so Sean also says it's a sticky issue, but over here people live in relative peace. The population is mostly Christian, Muslim, and Hindi. Also many Buddhists and Taoists. And Byron says, I'm not a very political person. I try to avoid as much as possible. I'm not even registered to vote, actually. But if I ever want to speak or learn about an issue, I read articles from both sides of the political line, so to speak. It's very important. I've always believed there's two sides to a story, and the truth lies somewhere in the middle. The only way to be informed properly is to get as many facts from as many viewpoints and from your own view from there. Form your own view from there. And I think that's true. I think it's so easy to get worked up over, well, I believe this, therefore you're wrong. I believe this, therefore you're right. But I think it's also, it's vital to look at as much of it as possible before you truly pass judgment on something, Because even if you have like some guy out there whose belief is, well, we have to destroy all babies. Well, first, that sounds terrible, right? Instinctively, it's like, well, I don't want to partake in that. I don't want to be a part of a world where this is. And not that I would necessarily ever condone it, but where's this guy coming from? What is he meaning? Why does he mean it? Why was he taught this? There's a lot of factors that go into trying to understand the guy who wants to destroy the babies.
What's the archetypal thing that's actually going on here?
Yeah, like where does it make sense? Maybe it comes from, well, we need to cut down on world population, so maybe it's like a kind of a narrow point of view, but maybe that it's founded in something that is looking out for the better of the whole. We're creating too many babies who are now homeless. We're creating babies who don't have families that can take care of them, or we're creating babies who are, subject to diseases and, vile things. And okay, well, suddenly that's a little bit more compelling than just saying, get a baby out and smash it. Like,
get a baby out and smash it.
Yeah. Carry it to term and then destroy it. Yeah. But, still, maybe there's a better way around that ultimately before it has to get to that level. So, okay, now we go from there.
Yeah.
And so it's really wanting to get the whole picture instead of just my side is right.
Yes. Yeah.
I see from my perspective, therefore.
Yeah.
Yep. So, thanks for coming in, Sean, man. That was super awesome to have him show up. I got to show you pictures of this dude. He's a good dude.
Cool.
Yeah, super duper nice.
I like pictures of good dudes.
Yeah, me too. Got a whole wall full of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Pretty good.
Okay.
Let's see. We just gotta go now and then later.
Later.
There it is. Later, Gator.
Peace.
So, what's up?
What's up?
Not much, just hanging out in my room.
Yeah, you're in your bedroom?
This is my bedroom right now, yeah.
Are you sleeping?
I'm asleep right now. What's up? I'm trying to sleep. Could you keep it down?
Maybe you should put your phone on
I'm
silent
really tired.
and not blame me for texting you right this
Well, my phone's in the other room, so what's your excuse?
moment. You're gonna have one. I don't have
You
one.
don't have, yeah, you didn't even think of one.
No, I have no argument for that excellent, logical, sound foundation point.
Jonathan says, what did I miss so far? Actually, we had a pretty good conversation. It's hard to recap all of it. I'd actually probably recommend just watching the first 50 minutes.
The first thing we did was talk a bunch of total nonsense.
The first 10 minutes were probably just Michelle and I BSing, just and laughing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And actually a half an hour and we started laughing again for no reason.
Yeah, and that was
It's a lot of just back and
unstoppable.
forth. Yeah.
Unstoppable. But we've been talking about how would I put this? Just the way that we exercise judgment and the way that groups, people will exercise judgment in different directions, and how I mean, and you know what, I just a minute ago what I was thinking about when you were talking is, I wonder if to actually draw a conclusion, to make a judgment, if that requires some narrowness. Because I imagine that if you kept your mind wide open for every possible perspective about any possible
You
topic,
never make a cut.
you maybe would never make a cut.
Okay, that's fair. I think it's sort of knowing where the line is to ascertain as much information as possible, but within some point having to say, okay, we have to limit it. Yeah, that's interesting. Makes sense.
I don't know, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, John's a medical psychology doctor, 1905. That's right.
That's correct.
Yes, we also learned that John has a PhD in medical psychology that he earned in 1905.
Correct.
And we've come a long way in the medical psychology field, thanks to this trailblazer right here.
Right, yep, from the College of Santa Fe.
College of Santa Fe. Santa Fe. And that is the most important thing, I agree.
It is very important.
It is very important.
Keep on, endlessly fascinating, though. There's understanding and agreeing they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, actually, it's important to be willing to understand somebody openly, and you don't have to agree with them. You know, like it is hard because this is something that comes down to the term they call mansplaining.
Yay!
It's a big one.
Favorite topic.
Right, big thing. Actually, there was an experiment I think that I saw recently. Somebody posted. I actually don't know when this experiment was done, but there was a talk show where this man comes out and he's trying to explain physics to this female physics major, and so she's just sort of sitting there taking it like she's dumb, and the guy is just trying to well, does it make sense to understand this? And she, of course, is light years beyond this dude.
Wait, so did they tout to this guy that he was an expert? Can you please go do this, or did he just go out there and assume that, oh, here's a female, she must be a total dumbass?
Yeah, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not like he was prepped. Can you please go teach these people or teach this individual over here?
Yeah, they're having sort of a one-on-one. It was
physics.
a crossfire kind of thing, discussing. And
Was he aware of that she was a physicist?
No. I don't think so. I don't think he was. And even if he did, that would have also been funny, because him trying to be okay, listen, you got to understand, and she's just I know. By the way, I know. I'm not sure. I have to go find the thing because I didn't check all of it out, but.
I understand why Walter White made meth, but I'm not going to go do it.
Sure. Or I had an incident a while back where I was discussing with a friend.
I like how he puts this.
Very passionate. Yeah, that's a really great.
Understanding is based
phrasing.
on facts and perspective. Agreeing is based on your own values and morals.
Sure. And I think I told you about this story. I had a friend who one day was I hate when guys hit on me at the bar. And she had this anecdote about this guy who was drunk and trying to buy her a drink, and she just kept resisting. And he was just I just think you're so pretty, and I really just want to buy you a drink. And so she eventually was F off, dude. And a friend of mine bumped in. He goes, I think there's, and you didn't find that flattering. You didn't, because he said, as a guy, I would love if somebody felt like they wanted to tell me that they wanted to buy me a drink. And he was from my perspective. And she was well, that's because you're, and she sort of started laying into him because she was well, no, it's not like that. We don't want that kind of thing. We want people to leave us alone. He was I guess so, but like, I would love if someone paid attention to me. You know, I would love if somebody, you know, treated me like I was worth something and told me that I was handsome and wanted to buy me a drink. And so I ended up making the mistake of putting my 2 cents in, and all I just said was, this is interesting because my friend Thomas, I said, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I don't agree with what it means, but I understand the need for validation or the want for validation and why it does feel good. But, you know,
Okay.
I don't agree with it because, and so I put out this whole thing, and then I just started getting reamed by all these people that were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, whoa. I don't agree with any of it. I think you guys should be left alone. I think you guys should be left to your own. But this dude is coming from a perspective that is his, and he doesn't know the perspective you have because he's not a female. He's a white male.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, and whoever that was, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for any of it,
Right.
but I wasn't one of the people that reamed you.
Right.
But what I'm gathering in a way is that there's a factor in what he said
Mhm.
that I think maybe was there. Tell me if I'm
Sure.
perceiving this
Yeah.
strangely. That it actually was really unfathomable for him that a compliment would be unwelcome,
Yeah.
or that shoving a compliment over and over and
Mhm.
over and over when it was said no.
Mhm.
Why would you say no to that?
Sure.
That he actually was not really understanding that that's something that could actually be aversive.
Mm-hmm. His perspective initially was very much like, well, if somebody paid attention to me, that would be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't interpret that as attention. I mean, I'm picturing myself sitting somewhere and somebody's like,
Right. Yeah.
and that to me is not attention.
Correct.
That to me is not attention.
Mhm.
That's,
Because in most cases, it's a very unflattering, crummy way to be.
well, and if I'm saying
Attended to.
no,
Mhm.
no,
Yeah.
that's not attention.
Correct.
That
You-
becomes a harassment.
You've made your message clear.
Yes, no.
Right.
Thank you. My
Sure.
answer continues to be no,
Precisely.
and the assumption continues to be like, come on, because you're pretty.
Yeah.
That is not attention.
Yeah. One no, and it becomes harassment, and it's like, just leave me alone.
Just no.
You know.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's where the problem is. And so I was trying to explain from my perspective, because again, it's limited, and I only know my perspective, and I do my best to empathize with both sides, understand. And I was saying, you know, it's not acceptable for this kind of thing to continue. And if she says no, he should be left alone. But I said what Thomas is trying to say is that there's an element from the male side that likes that kind of attention, and simply.
See, I wonder though. I mean, if somebody was coming at him or is this a gender thing really? Like, if I'm coming at a guy and I'm like, come on, I just want to da 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 da,
Mhm.
and he's saying no,
Mhm.
no, and I don't stop.
Mhm.
Is there something about the genders being different that makes it appropriate for me to him or wanted for me to him when he continues to say no?
Sure.
To me, it's not necessarily, well, what's the gender here?
Mhm.
As a guy, this is how I see this. But as somebody who said no,
Mhm.
this is how I see this.
Yeah.
As somebody who has said yes,
Mhm.
this is how I see this. As somebody who has said nothing,
Yeah.
this is maybe how I would see it. But as somebody who said no,
Yeah. Male or female. Yeah. The no should be it.
then yeah, that's actually
You're
sort
right.
of the that's the focus of the story here.
That's the
It's not
defining
the
part.
gender.
Right.
And whether or not you should feel flattered that somebody is trying to
Mhm.
shove attention down your throat.
Yes.
That isn't. I mean,
Agreed.
that's that to me is like, whoa, you just missed you just missed the fact that she had a real life experience,
Right.
a human condition experience.
Yeah, and I think she was looking at me as taking away from her experience and not the part that he's addressing. And so it became kind of messy. I probably shouldn't have butted my head in, and that's fine. But I mostly just wanted to say, what is his perspective, and does it make sense to you? If not, I mean,
Yeah, like, well, let's dialogue this. Like, what do you mean?
yeah.
What do you mean? Because
And then very interestingly to me, she responded to me privately, and she's like, sit down, shut your mouth, and know your place. And I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Yeah, so that was a really interesting kind of like, okay. Yeah. Anyway.
let's go.
So, starts right here. The Itch Network says, what's up? Hello. We're here hanging out, doing our thing. And Michelle, what are your thoughts on men hitting on women in public? I feel from a limited perspective that an attempt is fine because how she's supposed to meet people. However, you should be left alone if you ask for it. That much I absolutely agree with. There's a lot of backlash against men who even make an attempt to talk to women out in public, no matter how civil or uncivil. We addressed this a while back.
I have something I definitely want to say about that.
Sure,
I
yeah,
think this
please.
I think what she's talking about.
Raina says, women don't want to be objectified, but attempting a conversation with a simple hello goes so much further.
Yeah.
That's what captured my attention when I met my
Yes.
husband. He was articulate and saw me as an individual
Yes.
and not just a girl.
Okay, so that what you just said right there
Mhm.
is exactly how I was going to sort of answer my perspective, Byron, on what you just asked me.
Mhm.
This is what I believe. If you're a male or female, this is how I believe approaching a stranger is the most appropriate thing. Now, we've talked a lot about the concept of being on the take, and I'm doing something so that I have a return come at me.
Yep.
That is something that just, like, does totally turn my stomach.
Mhm.
And my
you
favorite
can feel it.
way to be spoken to
Yeah.
or to speak to anyone
Mhm.
is not with the well, I think you look good. How do you feel about the fact that I said that?
Yeah.
Not that, but like if I want to compliment somebody, because I've done this before. I remember I walked up to a dude in the gym once, and I think this goes for either gender. So I'm not dodging this question. I walked up to a dude in the gym once, and I said to him, because I was like, I'm sorry, I know you're working out. I just want to tell you that you are like stunning. And I walked away, and I left it because it wasn't like I really think that now that means that we're connected.
You're right. Yeah.
Or something like that, because that's just not true. I
Yeah.
have no idea who this man is. Like,
Yeah.
who the hell am I? You know what I mean? But so I see it as if you have something to go offer somebody that respectfully, if you have something to go offer someone, bueno, but go away, go away. So in terms of, I mean, I think we all know what it feels like when we encounter somebody and they're like feeling it, and we're like,
Sure.
I think we know what that's like. But to just go to somebody and say something like, "You look like you're having a really good time," and go away, go away, walk away.
You cited an example when we talked about this months ago, where like if you're at a party, and like a guy came up to you and just said, "I think your hair's really pretty," and then just walked off. You'd be definitely.
Yes, I would be extremely gravitationally pulled to that individual because I personally hate being hit on when it's an on the take thing.
Yeah.
Love being complimented.
What can I get from this? What can I get
from
off
me.
Yeah, it's terrible, right?
Love being
terrible
complimented.
feeling.
Love being complimented. Say something to me, whatever.
Yeah.
Say something about anything, whatever. But don't do that to get something from me.
Correct.
Yeah. We've not struck any sort of contract in that way, shape, or form. Like at least give it. At least offer me something.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
And if we have like some sort of draw to one another, it'll happen.
If reciprocation exists, you are the next step.
I will come forward.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I will come forward and say, thank you. That was the best way I've actually ever been spoken to by a stranger. Yeah. Yeah. Pressure is just, I think that is what hitting on.
Yeah.
When I think of that concept, I don't like that concept,
but
I'm not saying don't approach people. Shoot, go do so by all means. Go say what you say to people, but not on the take. Don't do that. Don't do that to a woman. Don't do that to a man. Don't do that.
Putting them on that spot where they're just sitting there, like, what do you want from me?
Like all of a sudden, your attention to them means that they have a performance evaluation now.
Yeah.
That they have to do something in response.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even solicited.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Hand them something that does not take away from you. And if they keep it, cool. If they bring it back to you, cool.
Right.
What they do with it is no longer your business at that point. You just give that to them, and that's basically you're planting something. And if it sprouts, let it sprout. And if it doesn't, it doesn't.
I've never had the experience of doing that and it not coming back around. I've never had the experience of somebody not approaching me afterwards. You know what I mean? I've had the experience of somebody approaching me and saying, "Thank you so much for that. I just want to say thank you," and go away, which is fine. It's not. It wasn't a. We were taking, giving. It was nothing like that. It was literally just an exchange of, "I saw you. Lovely. Hasta luego."
With Ariel, what happened is one night I was gonna hang out with Pat, and I just messaged her out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, do you want to come hang out with me and my buddy?" And literally, it was not like, "Hey, we should hang out." Like, "I think you're really pretty. You want to hang out with us?" Nothing like that, because that's already sort of hitting the invitation of.
How long ago was it?
February 27th is the night that we first hung out, and there was actually zero interest in her as a partner. That was not the goal.
Yeah, I mean, you had mutual
we had mutual friends. We hung out
Connections.
once 3 years prior.
Right.
Yeah. And so one day I was just like, oh, she's on my friends list, and a picture popped up, and I was like, I haven't hung out with this chick like at all. Let's just, whatever. So I invited her over. Neither of us had any intention of being involved. But we're hanging out, having a good time, and that was the night that I ended up staying up till 9 a.m. the next day, talking to her, simply because we talked for nearly 12 straight hours.
And if Ariel, if you're watching, or if you come back to watch this later, that night where you talked until 8, 9 in the morning, I think he told me that story like 5 times within the first week.
I probably did.
So you know, he's been pretty stoked about you since. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that repeatedly. We're missing
did a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So
go up a little because we missed a bunch.
All right. So Raina responded right there with the last thing that she said.
Capture my attention.
I moved the thing. Right there. Okay. And Jonathan says there are certainly ways to compliment someone without getting sexual or crass in nature.
For real, we missed a bunch.
I think no, because this is what Raina said earlier.
Nope. Keep going. No, you're right. Okay. What does this mean, this picture?
It's because I accidentally, we have 2 separate windows running.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the main video window is the overlay that I put over that one.
Science.
Yes, it is very scientific. Which is cool for that, too. There are certainly ways to compliment a girl. Lots of folks this generation have forgotten how to hold a conversation. And, being able to hang out with somebody and literally... You actually taught me something a while back, which was if you're going to get interested in somebody, be interested in them and don't take it further for months. Be that person's friend. Emphasize compatibility and interest and build it from there to see if, you can actually hang out with each other, if you can stand each other.
Rick and Emily talked about this. Remember that? So you and I talked about the friend zoning concept.
Yeah.
Remember talking about that?
Yep.
Where, and I do believe this. If you want to go hook up with somebody, why don't go do that? If that's your intention, fine. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I in no way, shape, or form give a shit if somebody goes and wants to bang on day one. Who cares? But if what you're wanting is a deeper sort of connection, then I would absolutely recommend, take some time with that, because really, if a man isn't worth a shit in my friend zone, I don't want him in any of my other zones.
That's the thing. The friend zone's a great thing to establish.
Please go through it. You don't teleport it or bypass it. Why wouldn't you want it? What's wrong with being in a friendship with me?
The friend zone is the best foundation for anything, and if you don't get a relationship out of it, you have a friendship.
I don't want any other zones being visited if the friend zone is actually considered a derogatory thing for somebody who's talking to me.
Agreed.
Because that to me is that's on the tape.
Yeah.
That's on
that
the
completely
tape.
is. You're not giving me what I want, therefore, screw you.
Friend zone is a mutual place.
Oh,
and it's a strong place.
Great place to start
and
anything. And it's good just for the whole of it. I'm in your friend zone.
Yeah.
I'm in your best friend zone.
You've never not been in my friend zone.
Exactly.
Never not.
And it's
whether we were involved with each other or not, that's who you are primarily to me, and always will be.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. And Jonathan also says, it's coming from an introvert that is not comfortable talking to people in intimate one-on-one groups. And he and his wife have an awesome dynamic. They come to the store all the time. They hang out. Unfortunately, we're not there during room night because something came up again.
Oh, you mentioned them.
Yeah.
That they weren't there.
Great people. Kellen comes in and says, good evening, guys. Hello, Kellen. Hello. I love you. And Byron says, it's not that we've forgotten how to hold a conversation. It's that we hold conversation so much differently. But the generational gap is extreme, going both ways. So it seems like and then it got cut off. That as well. My generation is much more open sexually, so hookups are far more common than relationships. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's another perception gap. As long as it's communicated, I think that's the biggest thing you can do with somebody. If you want to be on the hookup, and let somebody know, because it's very easy to get that kind of stuff confused, misconstrued, and feelings hurt if you're not very direct about what a hookup can mean.
I'm all for hookups.
Yeah, why not?
Go play.
Do it. Have fun. Just make sure that both people are on the same page of understanding for what it is.
What I think it is just don't be a deceitful.
Yeah.
Don't be a deceitful person to encounter.
Yeah.
Whether you're after this, that, or the other.
Right.
Just don't be deceitful. Just don't be deceitful about it.
Understand your intention.
Yeah. Just let them make a decision about you based on reality. Let them know really what you're bringing to the table.
Sure.
Period.
And then Johnson says, agree to disagree. I think the digital convo is a crutch for many. If you want that connection, you have to take a leap of faith and work a little towards it and get to fall in your lap. The digital thing is very interesting because it's a very easy place to sort of safely communicate from, as it were. And as such, I think it does need to be taken to another level in terms of pure communication, because hiding behind, I don't want to say hiding necessarily, because for some people it's a very genuine and safe place to express yourself. But I think it's also an easy place to like personify yourself that is not necessarily accurate and not even malintentioned, but just sometimes who we are on online personality doesn't necessarily translate well.
Well, and I've also heard the argument, and I would agree with this in certain cases. So I don't disagree with anything alone. I mean, I think that there's truth probably in each way of looking at this. But I've also heard the argument that people are more real the longer they can just talk.
Sure.
Talk. So that if there is like the digital encounter is happening first and for a period of time, that those two individuals can know each other more in a way, because other things are actually not even accessible.
Yeah.
Which, true or not, I don't know. I'm sure some people use it as a form of being completely real and completely open, and some people use it as a form to let me put this mask on.
Yeah, I think it can definitely go both ways.
Yeah,
I think all of it, any venue of communication, is a multitude of different understandings depending on the person. Bueno chili. Do you like green chili?
I like red chili more, but I like green chili. It's okay.
Green chili is good. Red chili. It depends. I like red chili as a whole.
I love red chili.
I mean, green's great.
I love red chili.
But red chili is my preference.
Me too.
I like dipping things in red chili. Like my balls.
Like your balls.
Like, yeah, exactly.
That sounds like a fun time.
You can only do that once, or I guess twice, depending on how big of bites you take. What?
Yeah.
Let's see. Jonathan and I didn't meet via digital world. The phone calls in person make so much more. You get body language that can't be text or vocalized. I think for me, I actually try to communicate via text very much the way I would articulate through spoken word, where, an emphasis on certain words and capitalizing certain words, exclamation marks. And so I really try to be as accurate as possible, when I'm generally trying to articulate to somebody.
What do you think about the body language?
I gesticulate like crazy. And so for me, a lot of that is lost in text. So I have to try to make up for it by having very concise written messages. But I think because I'm a very animated person, it does not come across at all unless you know me. And then once you know me, you can probably see it when I speak. It probably appears.
Oh yeah. Anytime I read anything that you write, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
You
know.
I do. I totally do.
Let's see. Emily says, I see you fixed your laptop. I did not, however. My laptop's in the other room. This is like my main computer. However, the laptop, it was just a dead battery. The battery is completely kaput.
Oh.
So if I plug it in, it's fine. However, if I'm working on something and the cable gets knocked, laters, which has happened once since then, that was not so good. But yeah.
That was a funny pickup.
That really sucked. Yeah.
I
felt super bad. Super bad.
Super bad.
Actually, I felt really great. I felt great about my laptop messing up.
Yeah, I thought it was the best part.
In a sense, I actually kind of like it, because what I want to tell you about life is that...
Tell me?
Yeah, everybody. I want to tell everybody about life. If your plan doesn't work, you figure something out.
It'll happen or it won't.
Yeah, it'll happen or it won't. And if the sister didn't have the laptop, okay. If I didn't have my phone, okay. Because we could have, there's a multitude of different things we could have done. My laptop doesn't work, we use her laptop. If her laptop doesn't work, we use my phone. If my phone doesn't work, we figure there's something.
Yeah.
There's some way around. And if not, we just have a really good conversation between all of us, and it still works out. So ultimately, it's not like this is this irreversible whatever. The bottom line is, as long as somebody's not being hurt from it, it works itself out. And ideally, even if somebody gets hurt, they works themselves out ultimately better and better and better. Because you don't want people to be hurt. But you just keep doing your best and your best and your best, and you figure out something, and it keeps going. That's tonight's theme.
Cool.
It'll happen or it won't.
It'll happen or it won't.
Yep. Hey, I'll go to the bar. I'll talk to that girl, and she'll like me, or she won't. Life goes on. You keep going. I've had plenty of women that I've talked to that things fizzled out, or people that have talked to me and that fizzled out. and you keep going. And they found somebody who treats them differently or else better than I could have. Like I've dated people that I couldn't give them what they needed or wanted. They found people who did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Life kept going.
Yeah, case in point.
That's true.
That's happened both ways for us.
For us, yeah, absolutely. And Juanita has somebody.
Right.
Yeah, I told you that. And it makes me so happy. Every now and then I pop on it makes me feel good. And we don't talk any longer, and that makes me sad. But at the same time, I'm happy because if she needed to remove me to continue her happiness,
and she did,
then good.
She was too focused on you.
She was, and I'm glad she is where she is. And even if I'm no longer part of that, that's to me what wanting true happiness is if I want you to be happy regardless of whether or not I'm involved.
Yeah.
And I'm not involved with that, but she's happy, and that's what I want. That's the bottom line. I want her to do well. I want her to be happy. I want things to work out in her favor.
Yeah.
Jonathan says, I do agree that social platforms nowadays are a great starter, but eventually it has to progress past that. Absolutely, I agree with that as well, at least in terms of romantic relationships eventually have to meet. Michelle, in going back to your friend zone comments, how do you feel about exes staying friends? If you want the ultimate case in point, I'm friends with probably 5 of my exes.
Yeah.
I have no romantic interest in them because that's not my value.
Dwight is one of my best friends.
Yeah. And you're one of my best friends.
Yeah, you're one of my best friends.
And we're exes.
And we're exes.
My Lex is one of my exes. Elle, I dated her very briefly last year.
Michelle.
We're great friends. Japanese Michelle.
Yeah.
Other Michelle. And we're all friends. And I think not everybody can do it. I think there's a very specific type of relationship that can allow for it. But I think it's very doable.
You and Lex were friends beforehand, right?
Not really.
No?
Not really, no. Yeah, we dived into the relationship pretty quickly. We dated for about 6 months, and then it ended. And it probably took us about 1.5 years to get to the point where we were friends.
Yeah.
But now we're completely great friends. She's actually worked for me several times. We go out to lunch occasionally. She confides in me with all kinds of stuff.
That's a really good question because in my experiences, whenever I broke things off with us, and then when another time you broke things off with us, and then whenever I broke things off with Dwight, in each of those cases, that all came back to friendship. In each of those cases, that I did have to have a period. There was a period. Either you or I or Dwight or me had to have a period of time where that relationship that we had just ended, it had to go in a coffin on some level to resurrect something else.
Absolutely.
So
straight out of the gate, we couldn't just go, oh, we're best friends the next day.
Actually, no, I don't. I've never had the experience where I could immediately go friend zone it. I've never been able to do that. It may be possible for some people, but in my experience, having at least some time will show you whether or not you can be friends with that person.
Sure.
Because I have exes that no, I'm certainly not friends with. He's gonna kill me.
You're right.
He's gonna kill me.
He's trying so hard to kill you. He's just hanging on like he's Indiana Jones. Rick says, my wife and I spoke on the phone for months before we really hung out.
I love your love story.
I love also
so much.
speaking on the phone with people. I think is great.
Yeah.
Raina, my first ex, is one of my best friends. We've been going on 7 years now. It's totally possible. There's a lot of variables regarding it. Usually ex for a reason, but there are exceptions, and that's true. I'm not friends with all my exes. Right. That's very, very, very true. I went as old school as well. Was months of phone calls and actual dates where I would actually hold my wife's hand or even show any type of physical intimacy. My husband said we talked for months before I hung out. Now I can't imagine my life without him. And agreed in the variables. I remained friends with one ex, and he was my best friend. Larry, after the relationship, Larry does not care about anything on my desk.
He doesn't care about any of my skin.
He doesn't care about anything. Yeah, it's dependent on a lot of different factors, and I don't view it as weird because Buckley actually was one of my best friends, and he's the one who owns Metalogic Computers. That's actually Lex's ex-boyfriend, and Buck and I are very good friends. I actually helped Lex move out of Buck's place into my place, all while maintaining a friendship that was not in trouble for even a moment. So, I think it depends on the understanding that you have, not just with the person, but also of yourself. There's a security level, I think, within in
both my relationships with you and with Dwight. Neither of us had any sort of a possessiveness issue.
True.
That's
true.
The man was free to do whatever he wanted. I was free to do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
You and I have never constricted each other
No.
in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So I think in some ways, you know what? Now that I'm having sort of an epiphany here. What?
It reminds me of something. When we first started dating, 2008, and I was going to pick you up from your apartments when you lived right down the street from me.
Yeah.
And I was going to pick you up, and I was like, I think a couple minutes late, and you sent me a text and said, "Who is she? I'll kill her." And I thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard because I knew there was literally no animosity or anger at all, and I just laughed and laughed.
That was great.
It was great.
I did kill her.
Okay, she's dead now, yeah.
Yeah, she's dead. She was banging on my boy.
Yeah.
What the hell was I saying before that?
Before I interrupted you?
With my hilarity. What was I saying?
Oh,
I was having sort of an epiphany
Mm.
where can somebody be friends in, after a relationship? I think that maybe a more accurate question that I would want to pose is, can somebody be friends who don't put constraints on, I want you to do this and that and fit in my box?
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody even have a romantic relationship without that? I think that's actually the more poignant question is any relationship, friendship, love relationship, any relationship, is it functionally healthy when one side is invested in controlling the other's behavior?
Controlling.
I think that's
Yeah.
actually maybe a more accurate way to even discuss this, at least from where I'm thinking right now.
Sure. Yeah. No, that completely makes sense. I think a lot of it comes down to the parameters that you set. And the more you control somebody, there's sort of like the law of resistance. Is the more you persist, someone will resist.
Yeah.
So if you try to contain somebody, the less they want to be contained. Even if it's romantically intended, it's still control that ultimately there's no romance involved. It's literally just, it's control out of fear.
Right.
It's not romantic.
Yeah.
I'm afraid you're going to do this, therefore you can't do this. You can't go to the party. You can't hang out with these guys. You can't have friends that are boys. You can't have friends that are girls. Whatever it is, there's an element of fear and insecurity that goes into the you're not allowed to do this kind of thing. I trust Errol explicitly. I trust you explicitly. I trusted Alexa. And to allow you to like literally do whatever it is you felt you needed to do, you're not going to do that because you're not going to betray me.
There was no way that I wasn't going to hang out with Dwight just because you and I are involved.
Oh yeah.
There was no way that you were not going to hang out with Jack Shaw just because you and I are involved. Like,
Correct.
There's no way
Yeah.
you and I aren't going to hang out just because you and Ariel are involved.
Correct.
Or just because Jason are
Yeah,
involved.
and there's no element of jealousy or weirdness because they know their relationships with themselves, they know their relationships with us, they know our relationships with each other, and there's literally nothing to fear in that. You
Yeah.
know? But also at the same time, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go for an hour and a half, I'll talk to you later. Well, what are you doing? And then of course we're just podcasting innocuously.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm gonna hang out with Michelle, she's my best friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Have fun. Never anything weird. It's very well communicated. It's very open. There's literally zero element of like hiding a single thing.
Yeah,
So
no.
there's no inviting, fear or insecurity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it comes with me being comfortable with myself. About 10 years ago with Heather, it'd be a very different story because there was a lot of insecurity within me. And so there definitely would be a fear of like, well, what are you going to do? If you're going to go out, where are you going to go hang out with? Who are you going to go hang out with somebody? Like it would definitely, at that point in my life, I was a lot more unsure of things, but now, yeah, do whatever you wish.
Yeah. Freedom.
Set people free. Yeah. Cats are so angry because they're God's perfect killing machines, but everyone keeps picking them up and kissing them. That's true. They are just demons. They have these powerful claws. They can bite through anything.
And we're just not respecting it. We just
Yeah,
are like,
we hold them and we squeeze them and try to coddle them.
I think that is why they're mad.
I think so too. Cats are weird.
Larry is crazy.
He is.
Perfect machines to come to their only natural enemy.
I love him. But with the Juanita thing was unfortunate. I'm very sad because I loved having her as a friend and I loved her friendship and I wanted to maintain that because I loved her as a person so much. But also, she had a very different set of experiences with relationships than I did because that was her first nearly everything. And for me, it's not to say that I was like a Susan vet because, screw that. Everybody's different. Every relationship is different. Everything has a different sort of feeling. Shoot, it took me 2 years to get over Chris.
Yeah.
Like everything has.
And you were more seasoned at that point.
I was the most seasoned I'd been in my life at that point, and that was the hardest thing I ever had to do. So I certainly don't want to discount her thing and how hard it was because I understand that it was just hard. When you truly love somebody, it's hard. when you truly love somebody as well, it can be easy. Because if you truly love them, you let them do what they need to do. That's very easy to say, I promise you. And I certainly, being as unbelievably fallible as I am, I know how difficult that is.
Yeah.
Because I want to let Chris go. I loved her to the point where I wanted her to do what she needed to do. But it was the hardest thing in my life.
Yeah.
You know? It was crazy. But man, that evening, Michelle, oh man, we got to find out what episode that was. So that's why Gizmo was in the ceiling. He was not respected, so he disrespected me. Our cat got in the ceiling during game night. I'm so mad.
What happened?
I was so tired, and he climbed up on like all the shelves, and then he like jumped into like that sort of like ceiling that we have in the back room, which is just paper, like the plastic bags and fiberglass insulation. It was like getting him out of there was a nightmare because we had one cat stuck in the ceiling early last year, and he ended up getting into like the building complex and getting out, and I essentially lost that cat.
What do you think Larry would do in your store?
He comes to store all the time. I brought him to the store the other day.
Like let him run around into the ceiling and everything?
He can't get up there.
Well,
no.
Oh, he's not athletic enough.
No, he's not. He's clumsy and wonderful.
He is not God's perfect killing
He is
machine.
not. No.
That's why he's mad.
No, he was stripped of all his cunning.
His cunning.
Yeah. No, he comes to the store. He loves it. He flops to the ground and he just laid there, and no one was around. And Larry was just sitting there on the ground, just flexing his paws and just eating up the presence of just being in a safe place. And it was wonderful. It was so sweet. His big, huge monkey mitts, and he was just sitting there, and somebody new would walk in, and he'd just walk straight up to them and just look at them, and they would lean down to purr, and he would just get into it, and it was just, everybody loves Larry.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Very sweet. The older you get, the easier it is to trust. I certainly hope so for most people. For me, yes. I definitely think so. I have a much easier time trusting people.
Me too. And I remember you guys talking about that, how earlier in your relationship it was a bigger struggle, the jealousy issues and things. But over time losing insecurities.
You lose your insecurities. Yeah. I think so. When you find a person that would walk over water for you.
Well,
jump through fire.
And whether they would or not, knowing that you could do that for yourself with or without them.
That's true.
I can go do what I need to do for me one way or another.
Yeah. I can tell you, I've lived 35 years without Ariel in my life. And so going a week and a half, sucks my butthole. I hate it. But I can. I don't require her around to keep me happy or sustained or afloat. When she's in my life, she enhances it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But without her, I'm okay. This week and a half, obviously I've been fine. And I'm sure at some point we'll have to go, do things separately as it is, because that's life. But there's no issue for me in any of that, Like, she simply makes it better. But I don't need her around to exist. It makes things better when she is.
You're not distressed.
Correct. I'm heightened. Yeah. Yep. Live like Larry, LLL, living like Larry.
Yeah.
Very true, because I feel you also know yourself much better too. Yeah. The more you know yourself, I think the more you can deal with a lot.
I frequently have this awareness that, I love you. I love my family. I love Jason. I love lots. But I actually, my favorite person really is my time with myself.
Good. It should be.
It really is my own mind that I love to explore the most.
And, it's great.
Yeah, I am my favorite company.
You should be.
Yeah.
Because you always have you. At the end of the day, if you don't have anything else, you have you, and that should be the best thing you have at all times. Because if you emphasize and you take care of and you nurture that, it's good as often as it possibly can be. That's so cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. I love it. I agree with insecurities, but speaking for myself, I don't trust very many people, just the way I've always been, and I know that's how I will be. In time, however, I do want to let that guard down. And I think it's fair to be selective about the people that you do choose to trust. Because you don't necessarily have to walk into an open place and put your wallet on the ground and be like, "Oh, hey, cool."
Yeah.
You can choose the people that you want to trust and know who those people are. Also, he also said he's more introverted, and so I am far more social. I like doing things socially, and so I sort of open myself up to that more often because that's what I do.
I wonder.
On a day-to-day basis.
I wonder. I've never really thought about this before. introversion and extroversion and how that might have a relationship to trust. I've never thought about that before. I wonder if there's any inherent like differences that typically exist because of the introversion or extroversion regarding trust. I don't know.
It's fair.
But that made me curious.
My wife definitely knows that I have this behavior. Certainly. Man, you guys are so good for each other. They're so cute together. You would love them.
I want to see.
Are you guys going to be at the movie tomorrow night?
What movie is it tomorrow night?
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Oh, shit.
So the only problem I have with that movie, Michelle, have you seen it, right?
Yes.
Okay, Ariel hasn't, and she's going to be out of town, so I'm going to have to watch it again with her when she gets back, because I love this movie. The problem that I have with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is that every historical figure that they introduce in the movie, to me, that is the standard of what that person looked like. So anytime I watch a different movie where it's like, here's Joan of Arc, it's like, no.
Yeah.
That's the wrong, you chose the wrong actress.
Yeah,
Like, that's not what she looks like.
That's not what she looks like.
That's not Billy the Kid. You know? Abraham Lincoln, you're close, but this guy is the one who
Wasn't
played.
one of them Genghis Khan?
Yeah.
I love that
I
one.
know.
That's the one I'm like.
And he trashes Oshman's Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
He can't control himself for shit.
Beethoven and Socrates and Sigmund Freud, like all of it. It's so good.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
What a good movie. I'm so excited. And that movie is fun too, because it's one of those things that, like, when I was a kid and I watched it, I go, oh, these are two dudes, and they have a party, and they go through time, and bodacious and gnarly and whatever. But watching that movie, there's definitely a message sort of hidden within it that as an adult, you look at it and go, you can either say, oh, that's, a bunch of like hippie schlock, or you can go, the message is be excellent to each other, which is certainly not in any way a bad thing.
Keanu Reeves. I saw John Wick too.
What'd you think?
I love Keanu Reeves more than I ever have.
In those movies, especially.
He was cool in The Matrix. He's great in Bill and Ted's. He's good in other shit. But whoa,
John Wick is maybe the coolest goddamn character.
He's so hot.
Especially because everybody, like, the moment they hear about him.
So hot.
But there's the scene where he's taking the shower at the beginning of number 1, where he's getting ready to go out, and you just see like all the tattoos in his back.
He's so hot.
He really is. He's a sexy man.
Emily and I like Channing Tatum too.
I did anything for my husband. I never gave up on him, because if I did, I would not have the best 2 kids in the world. Thanks to my husband for not giving up on me. 2 people who don't give up on each other. Because it's work. You work with each other. There are things you do. You grow together. You learn together. You struggle together. Someone who is willing to let you learn about yourself and who is willing to teach you about themselves.
My parents thing last Friday, that 50 years that they've spent together.
Yeah, boring.
Yeah, this is,
No, it's beautiful. It's the greatest thing ever.
Anyway, I don't even know. Now I don't even want to talk about it. I actually don't even remember what I was going to say.
Parents thing, 50 years.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't a piece of cake for them.
No.
At all. I
I
remember, I mean, and they didn't detail this for the 200 people that were there, but I remember a lot of different sort of dynamics that would go on between them at times. So buddy.
Look at this. They had a hard time. And you, growing up with them, you probably got to see it all the time.
Yeah, I got to see it. I remember my dad struggling with depression a lot, and I remember how withdrawn he was, and how there were some years where my mother was pretty alone in her marriage, where he wasn't really there for it, and she had a lot of her own internal struggles about how much she'd accomplished in life, or this, that, and the other, in terms of her own, who am I and what's my role, other than just being this wife mother gig.
Yeah.
She did a million things. I mean, I'm honest, a couple master's degrees, and I mean, brilliant woman, but that was always something within herself of like trying to build that core, that her own security and things like that. So their marriage would suffer for those types of things.
Yeah.
For his depression, for her insecurity, like they would struggle.
It's a struggle.
I remember that, and I remember struggles between them financially. I remember that we were always a pain in the ass, their children, and it wasn't easy for them always, but they were just like you guys, Rick and Emily. Like they were hell bent. They weren't going anywhere. They were gonna make it.
Find a way. Put Larry in a full Nelson, and he loves it.
Yeah,
So
look at him.
I know, he's just eating this up. Yeah.
Put him in an armbar.
I can't do this when I can.
No, sweet.
Yeah, he's too small.
You're so cute.
He is cute.
So cute.
You recap what your thought on introvert extrovert behavior. YouTube timed
It
out.
did?
Well, it should still be fine. I wonder if like a signal on like their end did it, or what exactly. I'm not sure. I'll have to actually check after this. But
All I was saying about that was the fact that you had mentioned the introversion and trust together. It really made me think. Yeah, at least it's not like the room.
yeah, it's the worst relationship.
Yeah.
We can do a critical analysis of the movie from a psychological standpoint.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I said about the introversion, extroversion, trust thing was it never really occurred to me. I wonder if there are some fundamental differences in the way that we experience trust with other people based on whether we're introverts or extroverts or whatever combination or balance between those. I just never thought about it until you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
That I wonder if that actually plays out differently for those different main personality
Right.
tendencies.
Yeah.
Like if extroversion really actually does lend to more trust
Mm-hmm.
or not.
All these variables, the complexity of the human condition,
Yeah.
is infinite.
It just made me curious.
Yeah.
I didn't have any thoughts on it or answers. I just was like, wow, that's I've never thought of that question.
Someone give me a prompt, I will write a full analysis essay on the room. It'd be great to read.
That would be fantastic to read. That would be the only thing ever to read again.
That's true.
Okay.
Speaking of things to read, I'm going to tell you something weird. I don't want to read this. I'm not going to read it because I don't care. My grandparents were married 60 years. It's a very long time. That's incredible. This is just in terms of the longest written works in human history is a Smash Brothers fan fiction.
Hey,
The longest written works.
really?
Oh, yeah. And we're at that, like, 4 million words long or something? It's ludicrous.
Really?
Yeah.
Ludicrous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I was reading something that was like said at this point it's like 8.5 times longer than the current largest written work.
That's really funny.
It's just been ongoing for like over a decade.
Wow.
Yep. Michelle, I think you're onto something there with trust and extroverts, introverts. Yeah, that'd be a very good in-depth discussion.
I think so too. That's intriguing.
But I have developed an acute sense of people watching and engaging how genuine a person is or isn't. I think that's fair. I think there's nothing wrong with sort of sitting back and analyzing and, really seeing based off experience, because you can tell tendencies with people. You can tell when somebody's being disingenuine. And I have that occasionally at the shop, very seldom, but every now and then, like when someone comes in, actually no, this happens fairly frequently. If somebody comes in and they're trading in a game or they're returning a game, and they'll tell you, and I can tell if they're lying or not. It's very easy, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I have to prompt them because sometimes they're like, well, my girlfriend didn't like it or whatever. It's like, did you just not like the game? Because if the game still works, I'll resell it. If it doesn't work, and like I'll here's sort of like a variety of like different excuses as to like what happened, and I occasionally will even catch people in it because they're like, oh, well, like it stopped loading after this. I said, okay, let's pop it on. He goes, oh, well, it loaded, but like I just didn't. I said, okay, did you not like the game? Oh yeah, it wasn't very fun. That's fine. We have this policy specifically for that. If you don't like it, I'll give you something
somebody
else.
will like it.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Not for you, not for everybody. And so, but it's very easy to tell when people are making excuses. And I know, especially as a kid, because I used to do it all the time, when I was a kid. And so when I look at other people do it, just like, I don't care. Just tell me the truth and we'll work there. The more you lie to me, the less I actually want to do something because you're lying to me.
Yeah.
But if you just tell me the truth, oh, this game sucked.
Yeah.
Let's give you something else.
Yeah, not my speed.
Don't give me a whole story.
Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Let's see, my grandmother's in her 80s and my grandfather was in his late 90s. Wow, that's very impressive. Words can be spoken, but actions and behaviors rarely lie to you. Yeah, body language is huge. There was actually a video game, and they kind of made it a little bit easier to gauge, but it was called L.A. Noire, and you're a detective, and you go and you have to like go to like these murder scenes, and you find people and you talk to them, and as you talk to them, what you have to do is like watch them because they motion capture people's faces so like succinctly that you can like when you're doing an interrogation, you come across like these statements, you ask these questions, and sometimes people will answer and they'll just stare at you and just like look at you and give you an answer, and then sometimes they'll kind of like suddenly like sort of their eyes shift around the room or like they'll have like a nervous tick or something. And so it's cool to try to gauge the body language. Obviously, oversimplifies things, but it's really cool to think that everybody sort of has a tell.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
Whether their voice raises. yeah, it was fine. Or, they don't look at you directly when they answer. Like, there's so many things out there that people do to sort of give certain things away, and you're like, no, that's not genuine. What are you doing? Everybody's got them.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
kind of a neat idea.
I like
Yeah,
that.
Eleanor was a great game. So it's 10:38.
Yeah,
Actually.
no, I agree. I agree with that. What you said though about actions. My favorite quote I've heard in that vein is
Let's hear it.
actions express priorities.
Oh,
I like that.
that's great. Concise.
Freaking true.
I like it. Yeah.
Yes, it is 10 something.
10:40 almost.
10:40.
Yeah.
I wanted to let you know, and Byron and Rick and Emily, I spoke with that gal who's arranging the talk with the middle school kiddos or whatever,
Mhm.
and she's not positive what they're gonna say about that, but we need to do the actual film documentary, get his story
Mhm.
in that medium.
Okay.
Because if I can get that to them, then I think they'd be more likely to be like, who is this person, and can we trust this individual we're gonna have with our kids, which I didn't even think of. But I think we needed to do that definitely too. So
Sure.
I would like to
I'll talk to some of my guys that I know
Thank
either have the
you.
equipment or
thank
ability
you,
to
thank
do
you,
this.
thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
And I'll have to really I want to come and sit down with you guys and kind of plan out how we want it to go.
Yeah.
Highlight, talk about.
Mhm.
So I'm freaking excited about that though.
Mhm.
It's been on my mind.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and that whole time that I got to spend talking to you guys and that we got to spend talking to you guys, it was therapeutic for me as well. And I've been talking about it a lot, especially with a lot of my clients.
That's one of my favorite things you
I probably
expressed
talk
to me.
about it daily. What?
Is that talking about this kind of stuff, or even like doing therapy for people, is therapeutic for you because it teaches
Definitely.
you so much about yourself,
Yeah.
how you assess it, and how you internalize it, and how you regurgitate what you've learned, what you know, and what you're using to help.
Right, and
I love that.
I'm an extrovert, so I'm not the most observant of creatures, so it's really helpful for
Yeah,
me.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I think it's neat. I think both of you are very. This could go any direction.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Awful. Yeah.
Ooh.
Putrid. You hear it here first. John and Michelle are very. That's true. Truer words have never been said. Yeah. This is the cyber zone. You two are very genuine people. We very much try.
Thank you.
We very much try. There's been times in my life where I was not, and
Me too.
I very much realize that is not the way that I want to be because I don't want to give that to anybody else. I want to give it to myself. I don't want to be that. And I made my mistakes, paid my dues, I hope. And very much. I had a very interesting compliment. This is actually years ago. I went to just the grocery store after work. This is probably in early 2010 era, 2011 maybe. And I went to the grocery store and I was just buying some stuff and just talking and, just my normal John demeanor. And the older lady who was checking me out in line, she
Checking you out?
Yeah, she was, oh man, those are big knees.
Big
Those loves those knees.
Wow.
She was talking, she just said, you seem like such a genuinely nice and happy person. And that is really nice to see. And I said, and like it surprised me because I wasn't trying to do something, but it made me sort of think about it and how I present myself and how I would like to be interpreted that way to people because I want to be approachable. I want to be safe for people.
Huh.
It's very important to me. And it meant a lot.
Where was he?
He's in the closet. He's hiding. But it was a really nice thing to hear because I never really thought about it. But it was kind of a nice sort of reaffirmation of just do what you do and it will be appreciated. It will help people. It will be good for people. It will be good for you. It'll be good for others. It will be healing. And I want to keep that in mind because I want to be good, for myself so that I may be good for others. And
I never get tired of hearing you talk about that with me. I actually never get tired of that, hearing you talk about that dynamic with me, and because I feel it the same way about you. Like I trust you implicitly.
Yeah. There's nothing about you. I would trust you with literally everything in my life.
Everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
So-
Don't start with your mom.
Like IRL kid 1v1 will wreck you.
Wreck you.
She deleted all your characters. You can't fight. big aspect of your personality, John. It's part of the reason I have absolutely no problem talking to you guys about anything. You guys are so genuine and good people. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. And you too. I mean, you guys were great. Sitting around, your house chatting that evening was just like, it was like you guys are old friends.
Totally.
I think with that kind of trust, like there wasn't anything about you that was like, I have to learn these people. I have to understand them. It was like, oh yeah, these are just great people, and I feel like I've known them forever.
Yeah, like you ranked up the favorites ladder quick.
Yeah, very easily, very effortlessly. It was very nice. Yeah,
Definitely.
it was super cool.
Yeah.
So.
You want to call it?
Yep. Time of death, 10:44 p.m. The podcast.
What was the cause?
Birth defect.
All right. Good one.
Yep.
The saddest way.
That's just a really bad way to go. Exactly. Especially when
You
you're
don't even have a chance.
a year and a half old.
Sucks.
I don't know.
Birth defect.
Yeah.
Time of death.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. All right. User 1905 degree. What is the diagnosis?
Yeah.
It's
Faster.
It was a head deformation. The skull was enlarged and the brain was peeking out of the side. It protruded through the epidermis and was exposed to oxygen and bugs, and it caused a sudden death. SIDS.
Okay.
That's all right. That's the diagnosis for the podcast. Thank you guys. It's been a great dream come true. Going to help kids for me. That's great. Fuck you, Linda. Oh, that was a T-shirt that we. I'll explain this to you later.
Okay.
But it's part of a game, and it was
Banana
excellent.
camera.
Banana camera.
Linda.
Syntax error, clerical failure. It was very good. Was there a mystery weasel? Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of inside jokes going on.
I am understanding nothing.
Yeah. Shiari malformation. What's Shiari?
You know what I could do right now? I could be here like disingenuously going.
Yeah, just laughing. Yeah, exactly. You understand all these jokes.
Yeah.
I'm present for. Alps weasels.
I don't understand anything.
I know, it's weird. I'll explain it all too soon. Okay.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Every single one of you. Toaster, I'll see you next week, I think. I'll be in Los Angeles. I won't be doing the podcast next week, so I'll be getting in late from the airport.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm leaving Monday night, coming back Thursday night. So, brain thing. Okay. Brain thing malformation. It's perfect.
I would know the show.
Liar. All right. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad we had so many people this evening and a lot of good dialogue going back and forth. This was a really fun one. This is actually one to be fun to go back and watch because there's a lot of laughing, especially for the first 30 minutes.
Man, I must have needed that.
Yeah. Wednesday, Thursday. Perfect. I'll see you Wednesday then for sure, Toaster. I'm excited and looking forward to it. You guys have a good night. We love you all and be safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Wow.